it happened so-called 228 events, and under these affairs, we learn what is the human right. So American government has brought the criminal during the World War II to the criminal court for judgment. And that is also one example to tell the people this is not fair, killing the people during the war. And also I mentioned another happiness in the German basic law, so-called we call it as 宪法, okay? But they say no, we have a principle right coming over from the judge, from the God, that should be protected. Therefore, the German people bring to the constitutional law the concept of the Grundrecht, the basic right of human coming from this is supranational. And also I mentioned the people have some resistance right according to the German constitutional law, paragraph Article 20, and which is if the political leader against the human right, we can resist it and against it and protest it if there is no other way to be protected. Okay, I just mentioned this concept of the legal concept of the law. Well, I'm going to introduce now the first speaker of this morning, and that is very important person who contribute a lot of work to our symposium today. I will suggest that all guests to look at the page 10. After page 10, there are short introduction to all speakers. Okay, please, the representative of the Israel in Taipei. This is He Xi-Yi, Miss Simona Hartley, please.
Now it works? Yes, it's easier if I do. I have to say, I was invited to speak at this symposium. Does everyone understand English?
Yes.
Good. In Israel, we say sometimes, those who do not understand, please raise their hands. Now, nobody does. And the question is, it's because they don't understand. It's not because they don't. Okay, but from the sounds, I think most do. When I was invited to talk to this distinguished forum, I received the invitation with the title that you see on the brochures and behind me, which is Human Rights and Holocaust. And my initial response to Dr. Lucien was, I'd be honored immediately, I'd be honored to come and to talk to you. But I did request to make a little bit of a change to the title, because actually there is a term in literature that is called oxymoron. There is something that does not merge between the two. Human rights and Holocaust cannot be merged. Where there is Holocaust, there is void, zero, of human rights. So what I want to talk to you today is actually, to touch a little bit on what was the Holocaust. I'm sure that all of you have a little bit of an idea of what was the Holocaust, how did it come about. But the more important question is, how was it at all possible? I'm not going to go into the history. You know the history. You know how it started in the 30s with a democratic elections that brought to power democratically elected National Socialist Party in a situation of very difficult economic situation for Germany, in a situation of very difficult geopolitical situation for Germany after a very serious defeat in World War I, in a situation of economic depression, of no hope. So the easy escape was to go against and to direct feelings towards a minority, the Jewish minority in Germany, that described themselves at that time as Germans of the religion of Moses. They did not see themselves as a separate personality. They saw themselves as German. Like today in Taiwan, we have Christians, and we have Buddhists, and we have Taoists, but they're all Taiwanese. That was how the Jews in Germany felt. But things did not work out that way, and I would like to, just to give you a tiny little brief, I will read to you the first step that was for some lucky families, was a wake-up call. When the Nuremberg laws were enacted in 1935. And what it says was, it was the law for the protection of German blood and German honor. Now, think of it, we are all the descendants of one species, the Homo sapiens. It doesn't matter if you are Asian, if you are Caucasian, if you are black, if you are Indian. We are all the offsprings of one human species, the Homo sapiens. In the world of animals, in the world of life, there is no precedence that the same species would find a subfamily and will go targeting specifically with the aim of killing all of the members of this subfamily. Brothers, belonging to a different faith, but brothers of mankind. So what did this law enacted in 1935, what did it say? It will protect the purity of German blood. Marriages between Jews and citizens of German or kindred blood are forbidden. Sexual relations outside marriage, marriage is forbidden. Sexual relations outside marriage, forbidden. Jews will not be permitted to employ female citizens of German, etc., etc. I will not read all of it. I think the idea is clear. Why does the world recognize the Holocaust as such a unique event in world history? I don't have to tell you that Israel's situation in the international organizations in the UN is not necessarily as the favorite member of the club. Still, in 2005, by consensus, there was a resolution adopted in the United Nations that marks a day, 27th of January, every year, as an international day of remembrance of the Holocaust. Why? Because it was the first ever event in world history that a planned mass murder of one human race was not only originating after the Wannsee meeting in January of 1932. Not only originating in one country in Europe, but spread out all of Europe with the assistance and complicity of all countries, from Lithuania and Latvia, which is where I come from, to Poland and Ukraine, and Germany and France, and Holland, and all of Europe. It spread, and it did not meet significant resistance. It spread, and people joined the common atmosphere. And people were willing to go and report to the authorities where Jews were hiding somewhere for a piece of bread or for a reward. And it is people like you and me. It is people. It is people who were priests or teachers, doctors or farmers. What made it possible? How was it possible that a person would cooperate, some actively, some enthusiastically, some not enthusiastically, but out of fear? But people cooperated in the millions in a master plan designed to collect, gather all Jews in extermination camps and kill them. Now, it was not only against Jews. You remember I started with the difficult economic conditions, with the feel of the newly elected party that they need to revive the economy. So they did not only go for the Jews. I want to read something to you. It's a very, I think, famous. When I start the first words, most of you will recognize it. It's not a poem, but it was written by Martin Niemöller. I'm probably not pronouncing his name correctly, but he was a prominent Protestant priest. And he was known to be a very strong, outspoken public foe of Adolf Hitler. And he spent 7 years in a concentration camp. Lucky for him, he was not a Jew, so it was not an extermination camp. It was a concentration camp. Still, many people died in the harsh conditions there. And what he wrote was, first they came for the socialists. And I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. And I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. And the number one, the main, I will not say the only, because there is never only, lesson of the darkest period in human history, the number one lesson that I want all of you to take, if you take one thing from today, is 2 words. Never again. Never again. Never again in Rwanda. Never again in Cambodia. Never again. And that is why the human rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is so important. Because for once, after people realized and revealed the mass murder, planned mass murder of one nation, 6.5 million Jews, 1/3 of the Jewish people in all the world, almost all of the European Jewry were exterminated. Planned. Not war where people get caught in a line of fire. Brought by trains to death camps taken from the platforms. You know the most horrifying thing about it? I visited Berlin a couple of years ago, and I went to what is called Platform 17. And Platform 17 is a platform in the Berlin train station where you have listed the dates of the transports to the death camps. They continue until a week before the Germans surrender. Even when it was clear to everyone that it's finished, they still tried to kill as many as possible. I was standing there and I'm talking about it now and I'm shivering. How is it humanly possible? Never again. Never, ever again. Can you please play piece number 1? I'd like to show you a short video of an institution, a museum that was established in Israel. It's the Yad Vashem Museum. I hope the speaker will. A Holocaust survivor. He says that he bought this prayer book for a piece of bread. Now, a piece of bread was life in the camps. He donated it to Yad Vashem. Life is the victory. The fact that life, Jewish life was established is a victory. Yad Vashem is the museum in Israel that was established to lead not only a museum of commemoration and remembrance, but an educational institution and a research institution. And they hold every year international conferences and seminars. Last January, at the beginning of this, February, at the beginning of this year, 2012, there was a group of educators and priests from Taiwan that went to Yad Vashem for 1 week of a special educator seminar. There is another one that is going to take place this coming end of February. They used the time of the Chinese New Year vacation to go. What I wanted to touch on in the last, I think, 5 or 6 minutes I have is maybe we can never understand what made it possible, but what we must remember. The sentence of never again was also said by thousands of people during the Holocaust. The ones that